What's up, everyone? It's Tuesday, July 14th. We are live at 5. I'm Paul Wontorek.
And I'm Michael James Scott. What's going on, Paul?
How's the West Coast? How you doing out there?
You know, the West Coast, we are doing, it is getting warm. We are in summer. We are in summer. It is, but you know, there's also some spiking going on in California.
Oh, yes. You be careful, please. You wear your mask when you're not at home.
I'm wearing the mask. Amen. But I'm good. It's nice to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We are joined, as always, by Caitlin Moynihan.
Where's she at?
Hello.
Yes.
And
up,
oh my
Caitlin?
God, it's Tuesday, so that must mean we are jam-packed with talent for another fantastic roundtable. Who do we have today, MJS?
Y'all, we got a fierce panel today. We got Miss Danielle Brooks, we got Miss Patina Miller, and we got Mr. Michael Benjamin Washington up in here today.
Yes, the triple Michael, triple name Michael.
I know, it's a full triple.
That's a thing.
I'm so excited to chat with them. They obviously are loved by many, many fans and people, and it's going to be a really great discussion today.
Amazing. I can't wait to hear all of it from the audience seat.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
As always.
But first, let's do some news. What's first?
Yes. So, well, there's a musical based on the Lost Boys movie eyeing Broadway, and musician Gerald McMahon is nearly done creating a musical based on the 1987 movie The Lost Boys, which was directed by Joel Schumacher. McMahon revealed that the musical, which is entitled A Lost Boys Story, is eyeing a Broadway bow in either late 2021 or 2022, based on the corona craziness and all of that. It focuses on David, played by Kiefer Sutherland in the film, who is put in an orphanage run by head vampire Max, played by Edward Herman in the movie, and is turned into a member of the living dead. McMahon said J.D. McCrae, who voiced young Simba in the live-action The Lion King film, will play Laddie, the youngest member of the blood-sucking group. Clock Orange's Malcolm Towell is in talks to play head vampire Max. More to come soon.
Was this like a movie for you growing up? It wasn't really for me.
I don't know if it was my ministry, but I definitely I knew of it, and it was other people's ministry. It wasn't particularly my ministry, but that's all right. You know,
when I wanted to watch a pack of boys, I would watch The Outsiders.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, I don't need the vampire drama.
No. I'm not a vampire person, but you know, although Brooklyn Vampire with Eddie Murphy is everything.
Now, where's that musical?
Where is that musical? Exactly. We'll talk to our guest today, see if one of them can write it. Michael Benjamin can write that. We'll get that. We'll talk about that.
Caitlin's microphone is not on, but that's Mr. Joel Grey. Isn't that a lovely photo of Mr. Joel Grey? You know, not only is he the icon from Cabaret, he, of course, is also a director, and he will be directing on borrowed time for the Actors Fund online, of course. And he has an amazing cast together. He got Pippa Sue, BB Newworth, who else? Stephen Skybell, Sam Watterson, Blair Brown, Michael Comsey, Oaks Fergley, and Bill Irwin. This is one of those plays that's been around forever. I don't know. I know it involves a tree, an old man, and death. It's like one of those. He's doing it for Two River Theater. It's their Two River Rising series. This is happening August 5th and 7th at 7 p.m. Oh, you pay for this one. It's a benefit, $25. You can reserve online, and it's for a great cause, and it's a fantastic cast. And it's supposed to be a really good play. I just don't know it.
Me either. I don't know it, but the cast sounds amazing. So
well, we'll see it in August. I'll see you there.
All right, y'all. Andrew Barth Feldman, Will Roland, and more offer Broadway Whodunit. So former Broadway.com blogger and Dear Evan Hansen star Andrew Barr Feldman has created Broadway Whodunit, a virtual murder. I have to say it like that. Whodunit, a virtual murder mystery series in which Broadway stars are the suspects and the audience gets to be the detectives. That's kind of cool. The games begin on August 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feldman will star as the evening's host, Lawrence Montgomery VI. The cast will also include Samantha Williams as his wife, Ernestina Montgomery, Will Rowland as millionaire Teddy Carmichael, Alex Bonilla as lawyer Giuseppe Romano, Janine Pimentel as Senator Diane Churchill, Gettine Mazzarazzo as CTO Robert Odo, and Renee Rapp as President Astrid Fox, and Antonio Superiano as Chef John Jean-Paul Pepperoni.
Oh my God, that's a lot of proper names.
That's a lot of stuff going on. The detectives, the audience members, will be able to go between different rooms on the series and website to follow the clues, watch the mystery unfold, and find the murderer. Participants will not know the ending, and neither will the players. Tickets on sale now. Who done it?
Oh, that is Bernadette Peters, and that is. I want to go to me now, Caitlin, because this is little Henry. I brought Henry up. He was napping behind me because Henry's a rescue, and we adopt. We don't shop, right, Henry? We got Henry at the Bide-A-Wee, and so Broadway Barks is happening. If you're looking for a Henry, and everyone should want a little Henry or a Sophie, my last rescue dog. Or Rozzy and Bravo, who are my step dogs. Anyway, Broadway Barks is happening right here on Broadway.com Thursday at 7:30 p.m. I've actually been working on creating it with the fantastic Bernadette Peters. This is her 22nd year. She, of course, started it with great Mary Tyler Moore, and normally it happens in Schubert Alley. It actually didn't happen last year because of construction in Schubert Alley. So this is like the first in 2 years. So they had to do it this year. It's going to be online. There are so many amazing animals. You're going to meet, and a lot of amazing celebrities introducing a lot of the amazing shelters. And you can find an animal. Like basically they have, all these shelters have reserved certain animals for Broadway Barks. So you got to go on Thursday night, and you're going to fall in love, and then we're going to tell you where to go, and you're going to get an animal, and there's cats and dogs, and they're all over the country too. It's not just New York based, although mostly New York. But it's going to be an amazing event. So right here, Broadway.com, 7:30 on Thursday night. It's going to be great. Hashtag find your Henry.
Oh,
I just made that up.
I love it. I love it. That's a new one.
Sure. It's trending.
It's trending. All right, y'all. So guess what? The Obie Awards are tonight. Yes. The 65th annual Obie Awards, a celebration of off and off-Broadway theater, is happening tonight. The pre-recorded ceremony will be available to view on the American Theater Wing's YouTube channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hosted by comedian, actor, and writer Cole Escola. That's gonna be really exciting.
He's funny.
Yes. Now wait a minute. Before we go any further, before you exit the room, skedaddle. I want to say congratulations on the for your consideration situation going on with the Emmy stuff. With
don't jinx it.
I'm just saying.
Okay. Look,
I just think it's very exciting. I'm just saying.
Thank you. So thank you. Take me to the world.
It was an epic
Sondheim thank you. The Sondheim concert is officially submitted for possible Emmy consideration.
Just say it's officially submitted.
But I mean, come on. It's like there's a lot of amazing TV
but
productions.
This was pretty epic.
Well, thank you so much. Just
I'm just
light whatever candles you got. We'll see what happens. Thank you so much. Hey, Caitlin, are you still there? Can we hear you?
Hello?
There she is.
There she is.
We can hear her. Okay.
I don't know what's happening.
Well, we're here, and now that's our cue to go.
I know. We're here and we go, but we got to go. We got all great people here.
I know, and they've been waiting too long, and I can't wait to hear what they have to say. I love every one of them. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
We love y'all. Thank y'all. We will see you again soon. Mwah. Get out of here. Hello, everyone. What's going on? I am back. Welcome back to another episode of #Live at 5, where I get to host a roundtable discussion with some of your favorite fierce theater artists. You all know who they are. And today, let me introduce to you, let's just get them in. You all, the gorgeous and lovely Miss Danielle Brooks, the fierce and gorgeous Patina Miller, and the Michael Benjamin Washington. Yes! What is going on, everybody?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yes, it's so nice to see you all. I know Danielle and Patina, y'all are moms. How y'all doing?
Good.
Y'all are good. Well, you look good.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yes, and Michael, how are you doing? You look good.
Other Michael with 3 names. I think I am rested. I'm rejuvenated. I'm excited about this conversation. These are some of my favorite people on Broadway and TV and film and the world. So,
well, let's get into it. Well, first of all, I have to brag on my fierce panelists real quick. So you all just hold on for a second and let me tell the world, even though they all know you. Let me just give a situation of what's going on. We have the gorgeous Miss Danielle Brooks. She received a Tony nomination for her Broadway debut in the 2016 revival of The Color Purple. Yes, there she is. She earned a Drama League nomination for her starring turn as last summer's Much Ado About Nothing production for Shakespeare in the Park. Brooks is also an executive producer for Ain't Too Proud. Come on now. On screen, she is known for playing Tasha Tasty Jefferson on Orange Is the New Black. Come on now, which earned her 3 Screen Actors Guild Awards for outstanding performance by an ensemble in a comedy series. Look at her. Come on, y'all. Next, we have Miss Patina Miller. Miss Patina Miller earned a Tony Award for her for her starring turn as the leading player in 2013's The Pippin Revival, and was previously nominated for her performance as Dolores Van Cartier in Sister Act, the musical. Look at her. I got to see her in it. She was everything. I actually saw her in London, excuse you. For 5 years, Miss Miller played Daisy Grant on Madam Secretary. She also, there she is. She also appeared in The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Parts 1 and 2, and will be in the upcoming Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. Oh, yes. And then last but certainly not least, Mr. Michael Benjamin Washington. Yay. He was most recently seen on Broadway in the Tony-winning The Boys in the Band as Bernard, a role he reprised in the upcoming screen adaptation. Everyone's obviously so excited about that. Washington also was seen in this season's Fires in the Mirror, y'all. Okay, this acclaimed performance, this off-Broadway, for which he acclaimed and earned the Antonio Award for Best Solo Performance and a Drama League nomination. He has been on Broadway and seen in La Cage aux Folles, Mamma Mia. Washington's screen credits include 100 Reasons, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, the upcoming Ratchet series, and it was just announced he's been cast in Justin Spicer's new NBC comedy pilot, American Auto. Yeah! All right, y'all. So that's what we're dealing with today. That is what we're working with. I'm so excited. Let's get into it. Let's chat. I wanted to sort of just start off by saying, I know that, we've had these amazing panels here for Broadway.com, which has been so wonderful with audiences that don't really get to hear about the issues that we've been talking about. They just, they see you, they see the lights, they see the cameras, and they're fans. But we've gotten to really start and get into some stuff, which has been wonderful. So, obviously we all know that there's been a racial awakening happening in the Broadway community. But talk to me about some of the similarities and differences within the TV, film, Hollywood world. I feel like Hollywood has been a couple of years ahead, not much, but a couple of years ahead of the Broadway community with things like #Oscars So White and so forth. What are the main differences between the Broadway community and the Hollywood TV film community that you think? And I'll start with, let's see, we'll roll the dice. We're rolling the dice. Come on, Danielle.
Yes.
Hard
question.
I know.
Okay.
It's usually like it's like a, okay, we gotta break the ice and let's just go into it. I know it's a lot.
Oh, no. The similarities, the differences. I mean, to be honest, I don't know which one is ahead of the other.
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of get stuck in this place of black is cool for a moment, and then we're back to Oscar so white or whatever you want to call it, the Great White Way. We get caught back into that cycle very quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure if I can say one is ahead of the other. What's exciting is we are being so unapologetically black right now, and we are demanding what is necessary. And we're forming groups, we are forming our demand lists, we are saying what is necessary and what we want and what we been deserved. So that's exciting on both ends. And I think from right now, it's kind of tricky because we're not physically doing the things that we love. But I feel like they are being received. But I don't know if it's gonna be that cycle again where it's like we're talking about it, we're doing it, and then here we are in 2022 and we're back at it. So.
Yeah. I love that. Unapologetically being black right now. I love that. That is
to not feel like, I think for a while I felt personally like I had to say like I'm a person of color, or like I had to be kind of what's the word, politically correct in just my blackness.
yes.
Like, yeah, I'm just a person of color, or African American. But no, I'm just like, nah, I'm black. I don't see black. It's so freeing.
Yes, it is. I love that. Yeah. Michael, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I've had this conversation with myself for over 25 years. I think when I decided to go to NYU to School of the Arts to train, and I saw the syllabus, which is primarily European classics or derivatives thereof, and the idea that you have to train yourself to be ready to play those roles if they let you read for it.
Right.
And wondering why when I got there and jumped through all the hoops and got the grades with the people, the Matthew Morrisons and the Kristen Bells and the Laura Benatis who were in my class and loved me and were always wondering why I actually graduated first in our class. They were out first and second year working and have gorgeous homes. And they always were so worried, like, and you're not working, you haven't had an audition in 2 years, and you had to jump through all the same hoops. I think the theater has always maintained its preciousness around traditional values and the traditional representation of the playwright's intention, whereas television is very much about who are you, because we could find any derivative of, we don't need a Michael Benjamin Washington to do all 26 characters and Fires in the Mirror. We can go cast that. The theater needs you to play all of those, but television needs you to know what your center is. So the problem that I've had in television is that I wasn't scared of myself coming out of school. It's what Danielle says about learning to be unapologetically black. It was like, if I'm going to work in Hollywood, I got to be unapologetically male, black, everything that I am, all the adjectives people want to put on me, and know how to separate them depending on what the sides are, So I don't know who's further ahead, like Danielle said. I do know that there is an awakening right now that I'm very much encouraging of, but I know awakenings tend to hit the snooze button. So as long as we stay awake.
Right.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes, Michael. Yes, Michael. How dare you? Miss Patina, what you got to say about that?
I mean, like, what do you say after that?
I know.
Said it. So, I mean, what you just spoke is my truth, right? Like in college and being one of the only people of color, like in my class and my high school. Danielle and I went to the same high school. Being one of the only people of color, you're trained to sort of like be equipped with everything. So when you get out, that you can sort of, whenever you're given the opportunity, you can sort of show people what you have to offer. I do think like going into the whole TV of it all, you are able to, you're able to like say who you are and what you'll have and what you won't have, right? Like you're in charge of sort of saying like, I want to go in for this, I want to go in for that. And there's, I guess, a more openness to it, as opposed to, I feel like the theater, where there aren't many opportunities, right? Like there aren't many opportunities to say like, well, you know what, I want to be like the sexy blah, 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 blah. I know that there's a role for me on Broadway. I think there are also more voices, more people doing things in the TV world. There's more people of color. And I think we are being celebrated, hopefully continue to be celebrated right now. So there are a lot more voices in it. Whereas Broadway, there aren't many of our voices that are being celebrated. And I think that's what all of this is about. And so we need to like take that same energy and put that there, right? Like all of the beautiful, diverse voices that we have in the theater, and like make sure that they're represented. They said it so much better than I did, but you know,
no, you said it in your way. That's what was so beautiful about it. You literally gave us Patina, which is
Right.
that's exactly it was. I mean, that's so important, and that's what's been so wonderful, is to hear everyone's perspectives. And it's particularly with the three of you, you know, who have crossed over from the Broadway, you know, from TV Hollywood into, you know, into Broadway, and all of that crossing that happens. And as you know, we just artists, we want to work, you know, and so we are it's in this thing. But you guys have figured that you've been navigating that. So it's I'm definitely with you in terms of, I don't know which one is particularly ahead of the other, but there is at least a listening, if you will, at this moment, which I'm like, well, then we better speak up, and be unapologetically Black, as Danielle said. So speaking of that, so Danielle, I read this quote of this interview from yours, and it said, I want to be in every, this is kind of going off of what we were just discussing. You said, I want to be in everything, but that's because I haven't seen someone who looks like me in everything. I want to play a superhero. I want to be the love interest. I want to write my own stuff and create my own projects. I want to be in French films. I love that. So you were the first woman of color to play Beatrice in Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. Yes, we're all giving a clap, which it's amazing. I didn't get to see it because but I hear, I mean, literally everyone was like, "Oh my God, you gotta say!" Like it was like a thing. So I am curious, you know, like what were the challenges you faced, and what was that process like for you as a cast of, you know, I mean, the cast was full of color, led by Kenny Leon, a man of color who directed the production. What was that like for you? And talk about that process.
Crazy. And thank you for reminding me of that. First, I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to choose. That has not always happened. And when I say choose, at the time, I was given the choice to do this movie or to do this play. And I was at that point in my career. Orange had just finished, and I'm like, okay, I can either do this movie that I don't really think is going to be a hit, and I'm not really the lead. I should be the lead, but I'm not the lead of this, or and get money, you know, get paid, have a nice check, or I can go be the lead in a Shakespeare play. And I said, I'm gonna go over here and do this because this is not something that comes every day, nor do I feel like that movie is going to push people that look like me forward. I said, I'm gonna, because at the end of the day, when you get to a certain point in your career, I feel like I'm very aware of how I want my resume to look. I want to be proud of everything that I do, and I want a Black little chocolate drop like me, or if they vanilla too, to look at that and say, damn, Danielle did that?
Yeah.
I do that. So that's why I took that on. And the experience was incredible. I did not know, believe it or not, that this is gonna be an all Black cast. I did not
You did it?
know.
Oh wow.
Know that. Maybe I was just ignorant to that fact. So I was just excited regardless. And then when Kenny told me he was doing an all Black production of this, I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be dope. I'm with it.
Wow.
it was so much fun and challenging. I was 5 months pregnant. I did it until I was 5 months pregnant, as you can tell in that dress. Um, and it was just an experience that I'm so glad that I took. And I bring this up not as a bragging thing, but because it's just the power of people open their minds to what's possible. We were supposed to go to Broadway right after. And that to me, I was like, us black folk did that. That's not every day that a public show transfer or in the park transfers to Broadway. That's very rare. And so I was really excited about that, but I got pregnant, so that whole went away. Baby was coming, so we weren't able to work it out. But I'm still hoping that we can make that happen again.
Yeah.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yes, come on in.
Danielle, your work in that was so stupendous. One, because it was the first time I saw, as you said, somebody that not only looked like all of my aunts and my grandmother, up there doing Shakespeare with perfect scansion, perfect iambic pentameter, a graduate leading lady.
Yes.
And to my earlier point, you didn't concede to the European ideal. You were a Black woman in that space with a Black cast in that world. So Ali's doing something very similar with Richard II, which has its second night at the Public Theater, which was supposed to be in the park, starring Andre Holland. And I listened to it last night, and hearing all of these beautiful Black and brown voices trusting our heritage in the work is what moves the needle forward. It's not just casting a Black face and some Black people so we could say that we did. It's inviting our culture into Shakespeare's universal humanity. That's what was so magnificent. And you led that company with that text brilliantly. It's on PBS. You can get the app, y'all.
And I want to add to that. I'll be quiet for a little bit, but what blew my mind was that, like you said, we were given permission to bring all of ourselves to this part, but people, for the first time in a while, they were enjoying it. They got it. They understood what we were saying, and I feel like if just people would open up their minds to what is possible. That's why Hamilton is so praised and dope, because people are like, oh my gosh, I can relate to that. And we can still bring everything that a Shakespeare play requires to the table. So thank you for saying that.
Yes, I love that. You were giving me deep realness.
Actually, it's prose. Most of it's
prose. Yeah.
Oh, it's in prose.
Hey, come on now.
To do what I wanted to do. See, you had to have that toolbox. You get that toolbox.
Right. You gotta You gotta have that tool to know what's going on. Right. Oh my gosh. Well, it was really exciting to get to see that happen and see what was going on, and just the talk of it was just so exciting. And I'm thrilled that the public, really gave that opportunity to make it happen, because it also said, well, look, this Black show could be commercial as well, and that is a wonderful, a Shakespeare PS play could be commercial. Speaking of, Michael just said about leading the company, Patina. So we talked about you winning your Tony for Pippin and for the revival, and you played the leading player. And now originally the leading player was played by Ben Vereen, a Black man, and now there she is. Come on, there it is, the Manson trio. Look at those arms. How dare you? And yes, thank you. We had to give it again. And now in this revival, it's with a Black woman playing the role of the leading player. So as a Black leading lady on Broadway, you've been, very used to being in leadership positions. And so what are some of the challenges you faced with that position and like boundaries and things that you've sort of set, that in that world, and also I would love to know what did you take to that with, like, in your TV stuff as well? What did you learn from that going into the TV, into Madam Secretary, and what that did for you?
Well, I will say, so doing Sister Act, I was super young when I started Sister Act. So, I didn't really speak up for myself. There was this whole thing of like, they're doing me a favor. They're doing me a favor. I don't have a voice. So I'm just going to do what I'm told because this is an amazing experience. And I'm just going to sing loud as I can and do all, and hit my cues and show that I have training, all of these things. And I did that early on in my career. By the time I got to Pippin, I said for myself, I realized what I was going to have and what I was not going to have. And I realized what kind of leading lady I wanted to be. And also the kind of, performer I wanted to be. And I was not going to be one to just stand by and let things happen around me. So I brought a lot of things I learned from that experience into this. I told them what I was comfortable with, what I wasn't comfortable with. I just required a lot of things from them, the team. And even if it, made me, I don't know, I would say I used to be so afraid of like, oh, I'm going to come off of being the sassy Black girl. No, I knew what I wanted and I spoke up for what I wanted and what I needed to be able to do the job. So I brought that and I had to grow into that myself using my voice. And, there was a couple of trying moments with that. As we all know, it can be a little tricky in those situations. But I really was proud of the way I handled myself, the way that our show was done, being a Black woman, being able to take on such a huge responsibility and being able to take on the role of such an iconic man and making it, turning into a female perspective. I used all the things that I know, like all of me, all the beautiful Blackness of me. I used that. And I am so happy that it was received in the way that it was, but I was unapologetically myself on that stage. And that is something that I had to grow into. And so I took that into the TV. I just sort of didn't mind speaking up for myself. I didn't need someone to do that for me. I started to do that.
I love it. Yeah. Every panel I do, there becomes a running theme, and this one, it's about being unapologetically yourself. And this thing, which is interesting. Last one was Audra McDonald. that was the theme. It came. So it's amazing. Like, it's so crazy, but I love that because it seems that there's been this sort of this talk about unapologetically being you, being Black, being all of you, which is something that I think that people really can relate to. And that's also not just folks of color, but so many people can really hear that from different perspectives. But for us, it's very important because for so long it was so stifled and so pushed down. So be able to actually feel the empowerment to be unapologetically yourself is pretty incredible. Michael, so I know that obviously you're a successful, fierce actor and all of the things, but you're also a writer. As well, and in fact, I believe you're working on a play right now, because we sort of chatted about that. I know that you are working on that, which I'm very excited about. I won't talk about it, but I'm sure. Oh, okay. I didn't know, but I'm really excited about it. But in this moment where so much discussion about inclusivity and not just diversity on our creative teams, because I think that is a big difference of inclusivity and just diversity. What has your experience been like in that arena, and what have you learned from the other side of the table, being of color?
Well, what's interesting is the things that I write have a Black male lead and a Black female lead. The trilogy of plays that I've written is about Bayard Rustin in the 1963 March on Washington and his female assistant, who's a conglomerate of all of the females who walked into the offices during the Civil Rights Movement and whose ideas were just taken by the men, and how impactful they were. The second play is in 1968 about Maya Angelou on her 40th birthday and Dr. King's death triggering her second bout of mutism. Her leading man, Baldwin, who gets her to write I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And then the third part of the trilogy, which I'm working on now, is the 8 days Alvin Ailey had to build his ballet Cry on Judith Jamison. So I've been sitting talking to Judith Jamison and Carmen de Lavalade and getting these stories from yesteryear. And so when I go into the room, what's so important to me is that there aren't just people of color on that side, but that there will now be people of color on this side, because the storytelling has so much to do with the design elements, the casting elements. Who do you know? I've been lucky to have people who have been white who are involved and know where young up and coming Black talent is in terms of the casting world, and designers who can guess at what, an old room that might have been an auction house and then turned into an abolitionist quarters, and now is being made for Bayard Rustin. But the authenticity of it, the actual sweat of it, is just a little bit different. I believe that if you have somebody of color who's in the writing position, the story on the page is your guidepost. It always is in the theater, what the playwright writes. And so I'm always confident in being a diverse creative team, but I do write for Black people in those stories because I don't see them. I teach around the country and kids are scraping for monologues. I mean, they're going back to the 60s where, that Cooley High acting, and that's the way you have to deliver. It's like, okay, we need some new stuff. That's not just the great poet warrior, August Wilson, because people get limited if there's only one example. So my aim is not to be exclusive and not even so much worry about being inclusive, but to tell our stories with the people that get it. And right now that tends to be us.
Literally a hush fell over Jerusalem as we all gave a amen. The church said amen.
Similarly, Danielle, what you executive produced with Jordan Cooper, that beautiful short film. It's like, if we're sitting in a quarantine, y'all, we got to come out with something in our back pocket other than, did we sit around looking for the virus in the air? It's like, let me see your script. Let me read your play. Let me hear your album. Did you sketch something as a designer? Did you choreograph something in your bedroom that you can then build on someone else? So it's always been a survival tool to write. And I think we need to all learn that.
Well, I'm all for a Michael Benjamin Washington, monologue book that they can sell at Samuel French or the dramatist book, shop. But we could go and be like, let me get my Michael monologue up in this. Okay. I'm like, let's get that in. I love it. Danielle, so I read that you also wanted to be a Broadway girl, like when you were growing up, and your thing, and you made your Broadway debut in the revival of The Color Purple, playing Sophia. Yes. And, on your Broadway debut, you were so fierce that you got a Tony nomination. I mean, there's that as well. So your first show on Broadway was with a Black cast. And I'm sure you saw quite a bit of color in the audience as well, which, it's not the norm on Broadway, it's always so wonderful to see. And so I'm curious, because it being your first experience coming into this community, what that was like being thrust right into the Broadway community as a Black woman playing a lead in this new community for you.
Okay, so I'm starting to get a little emotional, and I'm trying to hold it back, but I'm not going to, because it's okay. It's really cool to be on here with Patina, because me and her went to the same high school.
I did not know that. I love that.
Yes, we did.
But she was my example. She helped me to dream for myself. Getting to see her on Broadway. I hate when I do this. I hate when I do this. I really fucking do. It was a big deal, because we are both from South Carolina, and you're 17. I didn't know what Juilliard was at all. She didn't go there, but still getting to see her at Carnegie and to see her like catapult into the Broadway, like to even dream of getting to go to New York. Like, that's why representation is so freaking important. It's freaking important, because Danielle Brooks would be here, but I don't know how quickly she would have got here if there was not a Patina Miller, okay?
Oh, man.
So I say that to say a thank you to her.
My God.
And it makes my heart
I still remember when we met in the. Remember we met on the street. Remember?
Oh, I remember. And I think you was getting ready for probably Pippin because your arm was ripped. I was like, boom, bam, and you was not that little thick girl from South Carolina.
No, girl, I dropped it off. I dropped it off.
But yeah, getting catapulted in this Broadway, it was a dream. And this is, let me tell you, y'all don't even know. I ain't trying to take up too much time, but it feels like the right platform.
Yes.
I was auditioning for a bunch of Broadway shows, was getting callbacks, not getting jobs, callbacks, not getting jobs. Tina left Pippin. I've never told this story. Tina left Pippin, and they asked me to come in to audition for her part. And I was ecstatic. I'm like, first of all, it's one thing to be a black girl, but now I'm a thick black girl, and y'all think I can do this? Like, okay. So callback after callback. They told me no. I said, okay, please give me one more chance. I promise you, if you give me one more chance, I can make this happen. They give me one more chance. They said it was a work session. I'm thinking, I'm just going with Diane Paulus. We're going to work on this thing. It was every big producer in that room. Every main producer. It was like 20 people in suits. I done prepared this material. It was gone. I couldn't remember a note. I was going sharp. I couldn't. Nothing. I walked out of the audition. I said, I'm sorry. This is not my best. I apologize.
Wow.
I do not want y'all to see me like this. I gotta go. And I walked out. But thank God for that moment because I was not ready for Broadway. And I needed that moment. And so I took myself, paid $50 to get dance lessons, got singing lessons, got myself together, and my next audition was The Color Purple.
Yes, come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
To go, but I had to go through that to get to where I got. And that was a bigger, grander dream than I could have ever imagined because that was the first Broadway show that I saw was The Color Purple. So the whole story is a God thing, whatever.
Yes.
Not whatever, it's a God thing.
Yes.
So yeah, being catapulted, I was I had a lot of anxiety because I did get that Tony nomination right away, where I had to go into counseling and stuff because I felt like a fraud. I felt like, how did I get to this point? I don't understand. And it took me some time to work through that. But I'm so grateful for that opportunity because that is my family. My first love is the theater. I care really about TV and film. It really was theaters for me, my dream. So I'm grateful to be a part of this tribe. I'm grateful for all of the lessons that I'm learning, and I'm grateful for getting to continue to strive to push us further, getting into producing, trying to get into some directing, and so that there are more stories being told, and that there can be more Michaels and Danielles and Patinas out there. So I just
yes. Thank you for sharing that. Really, thank you. I mean, that's it's beautiful, and thank you for speaking on your heart because that it's a beautiful thing to hear. And so, and what you went through and what you just shared you're speaking to a lot of people, and you don't even know it. And so that's a wonderful thing. So thank you for sharing that with us. Really, thank you. I love this connection. I didn't even realize that you both were. How did I not get that in my research of it all?
Surprise!
I know. I love that. So speaking of that, so Patina, you got your start pretty early on in your career, and if I'm not mistaken, while you were at Carnegie Mellon, you were already in the game, navigating through the business, and like there was some audition stuff going on. I know about some things.
What you know about?
We are
okay. We all know. Oh, and Danielle gave us a full tea sip. And Michael gave a Ooh, and a drink. So we all know about some things, exactly. So knowing the world, you were coming into, Patina, and I've also known you for a good amount of time.
Since we got on the scene, I feel like
yes. What was your drive to sort of break through the noise as a Black woman coming into this business? And how did you shape that so early on in your career?
Well, it started back in college. For me, growing up in a small town, Pageland, South Carolina, I always had this dream of doing something bigger. And the more people told me I couldn't do it, that it was just a dream and that, it would never happen for me, the more that I strived and pushed myself to do it. So even going to the Governor's School for the Arts and Humanities, and, even though in my theater class, yes, I was the only Black girl, but it still sort of fueled the fire in me to want to do this. And it was more proving something to myself, but it was also, I wanted my dream to come true so bad. At the beginning, I thought I want to be an actor. I want to be an actor, and I could sing as well. And so it was there when I was at school that I figured out, kind of honestly what musical theater was, that I could put them together. And that's when I really got into musicals and acting, but I really just wanted to work. And I saw all of my idols on TV, and I remember I'm going to do that one day. I'm going to do that one day. And so I got into Carnegie Mellon again. Was one of 2 Black girls in my class, but at this point I was conditioned to sort of be able to, do this. There had to be a real, I had to talk to myself a lot, because very early on, when I was 15, I was the only Black girl always, in my class with my peers. And I felt like it was easy for them to dream and say what they were going to do. And, they knew when they left that they were going to go and do these things, right? Because all of these roles and all these things were out there. But for me, I had to really think about what it is I wanted. And I didn't see that. I didn't see if I would get it, but I just always, I don't know, I just wanted something more. And then so I pushed myself, and that fueled the fire in me. So I got into Carnegie Mellon, and Dreamgirls came along, weirdly enough. They were looking for, they were doing college searches for Effie, for Dreamgirls. And at this point,
The movie.
I was so gagged, because I was on a kick. At that point, my junior year in college, I was on a kick. I was just I'm gonna put myself on tape, whatever. I finally have a moment, not the other white girls in my class, but you know what? This is a moment where me as a Black woman, being one of 2 Black girls in the class, I'm gonna do this. No matter what happens, I'm gonna put myself on tape, and we'll see what happens. So I put myself on tape, got all my friends, got all the Black people to be all the different roles, because there was 7 of us. So all Black people played the roles, and we were in our studio. They were helping me. I'm like, guys, who knows, whoever see this tape, but we're gonna do it. Put myself on tape. I waited a month. I'm like, this is happening. Y'all, God is so good. I got snatched out of my class, and they sent me to the head of the school's office, and she told me that I was screen testing for Effie in the Dreamgirls film.
Yeah.
Okay. This little Southern girl, okay, who was so shy, who did not trust her voice, but wanted so badly to be accepted, to be recognized, and wanted my dreams to come true, had this moment. And from that moment, that sparked a fire under me, that just to have that little taste of, oh my God, I do have something to give. I want to do this. And so that fueled me. I didn't end up getting a child because it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me at that time, but it really gave me that push and that fire to say I can do anything I want to do, and I can dream big, and I can I can do anything that I want if I push myself. And then I'm talking a lot, y'all. And so that kind of pushed me into the business, and I took the fire. I said I wanted to work. I didn't worry about getting roles in college. I said, everybody, they can all have them. I don't care. I'm going to do the work
Right.
that I need to do now. I'm going to do all my voice lessons. I'm going to research every musical, because I had to play catch up. Okay. I didn't know all the musicals and all that stuff. I didn't, there weren't a lot of like, there weren't a lot of, I knew Aida, you know, but I didn't have the money to go see Aida. I didn't have money to go immerse myself into the theater and Broadway and all that stuff. So I had to play catch up, but I knew I was going to play something when I got out, you know, and I don't know. I just took that with me, and thank God Sister Act came around like right when I graduated, and it just kind of happened.
And then there you were on a hula hoop, spinning around in the wind, in the sun, throwing fire, throwing, you know, somersaulting, and winning a Tony. There
I started
it is.
as an understudy. I started as the understudy in Sister Act when I was 21 years old, and God is so good. God is so freaking good. It happened.
Oh, there it is. Come on, wig. Oh my gosh. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. Thank you all for sharing. Really, thank you. Michael, you, like Danielle, for quite some time have been in New York because you also went, as you said, you went to school at NYU, like you were there. So it's been a part of your life for such a long time. And then being on Broadway and of course being in the community. You know, Michael Benjamin played Eddie in Mamma Mia on Broadway. And then after Michael Benjamin Washington played it on Broadway, then Michael James Scott came and played it. But you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So, you know, we had the Jamaican accent down to do it, but you know.
I was 20 when I got that job. And sometimes at like production stage, it's like, Michael, tonight I think you might have been Irish. Tonight I think you might have been Scottish. I was like, y'all didn't give me a dialect coach, so.
Right, you didn't give me a dialect coach. You just told me I had to speak Jamaican. I'm like, okay, well, let me go to my dialect books from my college, university. I'm looking at like, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I'm like, okay, here we go. But so what has your experience been like because of that, I'm just curious, like for you then, like, the lack thereof, or maybe within the Broadway community that you've seen, like what changes have you seen because you have been a part of it for so long, and what would you like to maybe to see change as you've been going through this journey?
I think when I first arrived, I was at NYU the fall of 1997, and that was the remaking of 42nd Street. So The Lion King was coming in, Ragtime was coming in, August Wilson Seven Guitars had just closed. There was enough representation that I could skip class and go and second act a show and see myself on stage somewhere in a principal role, which was so impactful because I second acted Kiss Me Kate, and I was like, well, I'm not ready to be Stokes, and T. Oliver Reed is dancing a little too hard for my basic gay ballet technique.
Not T.
He was out there living. Stanley Wayne Mathis, and he was the too darn hot guy in the second. You had to act, you had to sing, you had to dance. And so I think I second acted that thing 15 times until I learned it. My first audition, professional audition, after my second year was for a Stephen Sondheim musical called Saturday Night, directed by Kathleen Marshall and choreographed by Kathleen Marshall, who did Kiss Me Kate. And when I walked in, I was like, I've got to play the too darn hot guy. That's why I'm here. This is my first audition in New York, so I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I was like, I really got to play the too darn hot guy. She's like, well, why don't you just read these sides first? I was like, okay. I took this job, right? I didn't tell my parents because I was going to have to drop out of school. So I went to school in the day, and then I did this show in the morning and did the rehearsals in the afternoon. And what I've seen till now, like 25 years later, is the fact that there are still such young, ambitious kids who are trying to see themselves on stage and finding a way to break into a room to tell the people, that's what I want to do. If you figure out how to bridge that gap so that it's not the kids out of Juilliard, Carnegie, and NYU who everybody ultimately goes to, that's the Black talent. If you're not on that list, sorry. It's the kids from Spelman and Morehouse who were coming in for my play about Bayard Rustin and slaying Martin Luther King in ways that I didn't even know I wrote it. So how do we make it available to all of the kids who don't have the big fancy Ivy League schools or don't have the conglomerate agencies behind them? You know, how do you bridge that? That's what I would like to see happen, because the ambition is there, the talent is there, but you can't afford to see an Aida, even if you know that that's the one show you might be able to be in. How do we
Right.
use that so it's financially feasible when we come back? You know, that would be the biggest.
Yes. Well, I mean, that kind of comes to the end, wraps it for my last question for all of you, because Michael, I mean, it's sort of piggybacking off of that. Who, for us, obviously, as we've been in this awakening, right? We're all, and mind you, it's like we've been in the awakening. It's not an awakening for us. So it's an interesting time because there's so many people, wanting to learn and are open to learning. And so it does feel like we're like, okay, let me say it again or whatever it is. And it is what it is, but there is this awakening happening. And now it's like the action, like, as we're all talking about, like, how are we going to make this not just a moment, and that this is an actual movement for us all? Who are our Black creatives that can be the decision makers of tomorrow? Like, who do you know? Who have you been inspired by? Like, who are those people? And what is the biggest thing that you think will make the difference? That's my last sort of thing as we wrap up today, that I'd love for each of you to chat about.
Who wants to go first?
Who wants to go first? Patina, go on, girl.
No, I mean, I will just say, like, now, just the fact that, like, Michael, you're writing. Not only are you a fantastic, actor, but you're writing. So you're going to be writing these roles, hopefully, that, like, more that will get our voice out there. And Danielle, you're producing, and that's something that I want to do. Like, I want to start having ownership over things. Not ownership, but more of, like, I want to be at the table, and
Yes.
I want to create. I want to be able to put something behind that new emerging Black writer. I think about all of the positions that, blessed we've been given. What can we do to help? But also, like, Billy's been out there writing since, like, the beginning, the Billy Porter, you know what I mean?
Right.
He's always he created something for me when I just got out of school. So he has always been creating, and he is finally given the platform to where he can make, he's always been making bigger strides in the theater. But I think it's on all of us, but it's also on people to, people behind the table that look like us too. Casting directors, more directors of color, more writers of color, to be given the opportunity to make paths for us.
Yeah.
It's on all of us. There's so many of us that are just waiting for the opportunity, like Patina said. And I think that comes with allyship. I really believe white folk need to step up and help.
Yeah.
And mentor some young people in producing and general management and whatever it is. Have to really start molding the next generation to be better than we are and they were. So I think it's about allyship and mentorship, and leaving room at the table for people like us. So I think that's where we need to head into next.
And I think
Brother Washington.
so much about what I've seen in the American theater in the 20 years that I've gotten to work in it is that there's a promotion system that happens. And all the people I end up working for as the director were in the ensemble at some point. The Jerry Mitchells, the Kathleen Marshalls, the Jerry Zaxes. All of them were actors, dancers who became the assistants, then they became the associates, and then they got, the baton. They got the torch. They got to pass it on to whoever they wanted to. I don't see that promotion happening with Black talent ever. It's like you can be in the ensemble forever, and then if you don't want to be in the ensemble anymore, you just stay on this pendulum swing downward. It's never promotion upward. So we've got to start taking a good look at who are the swings and the dance captains who have that kind of mind of organization, who are the assistant keyboard two in the musicals, who are the kids that can conduct it too, but aren't getting. We have to figure out.
Get to conduct.
Yeah, we got to promote
Right.
because that seat.
Yeah.
That is a word. Oh my God.
Yes, promote up.
Promote up.
Hey.
this way.
Not here.
Yes, not here. We're going here. Yes. We're going from 16 on the stage to 0. Okay? That's where we're going.
A question for you before we go, and I know you have to wrap up. You were a leading man in Australia.
Yes.
A black leading man in Australia. Was that different than being a black leading man in New York?
Has to be.
Do we have time for that question?
Yeah, yes, it was what I didn't know, and what Australia changed my life. What I did not know, but when I got there, is that truly for like the first time in like this there was like a black man's face on billboards, on buses, on the TV, on like. And, you know, it's a very different thing there. I didn't really know a lot about Australia before I got there. And what was amazing is learning like truly the racial issues in terms of like the indigenous people in Australia and the not indigenous people of Australia. And it's a very different thing in terms of the lack of diversity and the lack of color that you see. So it was actually pretty overwhelming at first, because I really became the person to answer all the questions about being black, and I got all these letters right away from people that were like, we've never seen color on anywhere. This is incredible. This is amazing. I heard all these stories. It was it was an amazing time for me to learn that whether I liked it or not, I was going to have to be a role model for people. You know what I mean? Whether this was given to me, I took the role, and whether I liked it or not, I became that person, and so I felt an immense responsibility to live up to that, and to just be, as our theme, unapologetically me. Because not only was it that, but I was also a black gay man out in Australia, and just being me. So it was quite an interesting time. And even when I won their version of the Tony, which is the Helpman Award there, I said, and I did not even know this, but I said on national television, I can't wait to marry my fiance. I said I couldn't wait to marry him, and it made all this national news because it was so rare there. So it just it's interesting because everything is sort of like years behind, and that's sort of like kind of how it was. So it changed my life in a very like right away, and it wasn't within like a couple months. It was literally like within the first week that I was like, oh, they are this is a very different situation, and whether I like it or not, you're here. So yeah, I mean, thanks for asking about that, but it's definitely something that I'm very grateful for, because it forced me to stand in my truth truly, and not be afraid to stand in my light. Really.
Yes.
Yeah. So I can't even with the three of you right now. I literally can't. You three, it's so refreshing, and thank you for speaking on your heart and sharing your heart. I know that there's so much going on in our world right now, and it's wonderful to get to see people who are walking the walk and not just talking the talk. And I am grateful for the three of you and your openness and your work and your, fierceness, if you will, for what this moment means to all of us. And I can't wait till we get to go back and kiki on 9th Avenue or wherever we are.
Yes.
And fellowship together, because I do feel like if we keep this going, the change that we are talking about will happen. We just can't stop, because as we've all kind of said, it's on all of us. It is on us. So thank you, truly, thank you for doing this and having this time with us, and for Broadway.com, for the audiences, they'll never really get to hear this side of it. So thank y'all for
And ladies, by the way, you're doing the most important thing. Forget acting. You're rearing children and bringing lives up into this crazy world. So get back to them babies and love them hard.
Thank you.
Yes, Deacon. Thank you, Deacon. Come on now. Thank y'all so much. Truly, thank you for taking your time out. I know that, it's a lot. Thank you for taking this time. You are inspiring, and you are helping people hear things differently right now from this discussion today. So thank you.
Thank you.
So much love to y'all.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That was wonderful. I'm so grateful that they got to speak with us, and I hope that you took something from today's discussion. Thank you for spending your time with us. Caitlin, come on back in here, girl.
I mean, every time I'm like, maybe I won't cry this time, but no, I feel like I always cry, but
it's so good. They are so great. Oh,
you are excellent. Thank you. I mean, every week I'm just blown away. You are such a great moderator and host, and you bring out the most incredible stories from people, and people obviously trust you and are vulnerable with you. So I thank you again for bringing your skills to us and making Live at 5 even better. So you rock.
Thank you for having me. And I love y'all. So
I love
much
you.
love to you. We'll see you. I'm getting out of here. Goodbye.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for yet another wonderful Tuesday Roundtable with Michael James Scott. You guys can listen to all of our Live at 5s. You can listen to this one, all of our past ones, wherever you get your podcast by searching for #Live at 5 and hitting that subscribe button. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. We will be back next week. All right. Make sure you guys wear your masks, stay 6 feet away from each other, and have a safe week. Bye.